Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We have got live tournament action coming at you. It is going to be on MLG's Shattered Temple. Nemesys and DarkDolphins will be kicking off this evening's extravaganza, if you will. But that is not the real treat. We do have Wendy on the line with me, going to be co-casting with me tonight. Wendy, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here. How are you doing?
You know, I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little bit under the weather, and I hope that doesn't come through too terribly on the casting side of things here. But definitely going to be muscling through. That is what we do here at Starcraft.
Yep, you sound great. You sound beautiful as always.
All right, sweet.
And we have DarkDolphins saying hello to his fans, and Nemesys saying he has no fans, but that's okay, Nemesys. I am your fan tonight. I will be your one and only fan. I will hold your hand. I will get you your coffee on your breaks. And Nemesys, and look, even DarkDolphins is saying he's gonna be his fan too. But here's Zerg.
Yeah, well, I mean that's awfully kind gesture. If DarkDolphins is your fan, that says something. So I mean, he's already picked up 2 fans just for being here.
And we have a 9-pool, Knack. We have a 9-pool.
Yeah, I was just noticing that on the production tab, and there goes the 9-pool. Interesting. So DarkDolphins is going to be getting extremely aggressive here. Now, tell me what your thought is, though, real quick, before this, the actual aggression part of this comes out. What's your thought on this? I mean, do you consider the 9-pool to be late 8-pool, or do you think that it's an early 10-pool?
It's wow, what a way to put it. It's definitely in the middle there. It's kind of meant to really punish Forge Fast expands on this map, and he can even get in there. Obviously, Nemesys has scouted it, so he's going to be able to respond appropriately. But it doesn't come with a disadvantage of saying going for like a 6-pool where your macro really falls behind. You're actually not too bad. He can get out an early queen, and you start creep pretty early because you're not going to have the economy to support a larva inject, so you can actually get your creep going pretty early. So it can kind of lead to some wonky strategies. But the 9-pool, it's versatile. It's not very overly committal, but he is making, how many lings has he made? He's making 6 total. So if he goes back to droning, I'm going to say he's going to be okay. And even look, Nemesys is in position to wall off completely. Looks like he's probably just going to pop down a cybernetics core there if need be, just in case. And yep, and that looks like what he's going to do. He can hold position with that pro, but any much longer than that, it's going to be a problem.
All right, and here comes your Zealot. He did queue up a second one just in case, and your first one is about to pop. It's not quite going to make it, but look at that. He goes ahead and walls off, and he traps 4.
Even in the wings, and that's huge.
Yeah, nicely done there by Nemesys. You got to give him credit for that. I think this was very well played. He does need to toss down, I think, one more chrono here to be in the safe side of things, but only 2 lings left on the field. That Zealot is more than paid for himself at this point. Oh, wow, but that cancel actually going down pretty quick. Looks like Nemesys thinks that he can just handle it with Probe Micro here at the mineral line. Do you like that decision here?
Oh, absolutely. At this level of play, it's no problem to handle with a few lings with just probes. With their shield regenerates and the Zealot on the way, you can at least hold the lings in place while the Zealot does work. But here comes the real problem, is if DarkDolphins were to rally up lings, which he's not, it looks like he's actually taking an expansion, but he's done enough damage to Nemesys that he's thrown him off his build. His warp gate isn't started yet. He killed a few probes that were in gas, and you can kind of see how these early pools are meant to really throw an opponent off so much as not to kill them. And a player like Nemesys, who may not be very comfortable in this matchup, or just kind of doesn't have a strong ZvP or PvZ play, this early pressure can do a lot. And you can see he's made a lot of Zealots so far. That's kind of good.
Yeah, it forces, which is what are fairly heavy mineral units here, and that does slow down the tech pattern in a lot of ways for a Protoss player early game. I mean, they want to be setting themselves up to take an expansion before the 6-minute mark. They want to be setting themselves up to have down their gateways long before the 6-minute mark, and you can see that he's just barely getting 2 more gateways down right now, and he's supply blocked. And so yeah, like you're saying, I mean, this is really a ploy to throw his Protoss opponent off of his game, and I think that DarkDolphins has definitely, hit the +1 there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Look, you can look at Nemesys. His one gas only has 2 probes in it. Had 1 for a while. He's supply blocked. He's throwing down a robo base. So you can just kind of see he's all out of shape. He's not very comfortable. This isn't what Protoss wants to look like at this stage of game. And there's this Sling still running around the base. Look at DarkDolphins is just driving his opponent nuts. He's just now getting a Stalker out. He doesn't have any sentries. So 9-pool for Zerg, fine, totally okay, so long as you can get the damage that you need done.
Right. Yeah, and I think very well done so far. DarkDolphins now getting his second hatchery there saturated. He's got that second mineral line now up and running. Notice that on the supply count that Dark Dolphins is indeed ahead economically here, and Nemesys still right at the 7-minute mark, just barely putting down his Nexus, so a little bit later than probably what he would have hoped for a little bit earlier on in this game, but that's okay. I mean, this is still not a too late of a timing for him to be, super behind or anything, but it's little things that, as usual, that just start to add up, and hopefully Nemesys is going to be able to pull through from that initial harass.
Oh yeah, but the big key thing about what Nemesys is saying is that you're right, and he's saying he's got a decent timed expansion, he does have his Robo Bay, he doesn't have sentries though. He sacrificed so much of his early unit creation to getting at Zealots to deal with the Lings that he only has one sentry with not even 2 force fields.
Right.
He's just getting a Guardian Shield now. And that's pretty significant. You have to realize how much StarCraft 2, when it comes to early game, how many things compound later on into the early mid-game to just a straight-out mid-game. And Dark Dolphins is in great shape. He has 3 Spine Callers out there. Nothing is going to get through them at this point in the game. So he's just free to macro up. He's playing it right. You have to play the 9 pool very, very passively, but aggressively at the same time. Very passive-aggressive, I guess, is the best term to apply to it.
Right.
So
don't overcommit, and he definitely did not do that. And he's put himself in a strong economic position from that initial push there. And I think he's doing great. The Evo Chamber's going down. I mean, he's going to start his upgrades here shortly. I expect him to also choose a tech pattern here momentarily. But look what Dark Dolphins is doing, man. Friend of the forest, this guy. Friends of the nature. He's tossing down a Spinecrawler forest, planting these guys in rows here. And he's just going to build, a wonderful, I'd say, biological preserve here. What do you think?
Oh yeah, this Spinecrawler Forest is really tough to deal with for Protoss if they don't have the proper unit composition. He does have 2 Immortals out, but here's a real big thing. Zerg is going Spire Attack. He doesn't have very many Lings out, so he's not going to be great on the ground, but if you look at the Protoss unit composition, there's 5 Sentries and 2 Stalkers. It's the only anti-air he has, and, well, Mutas are pretty good against Stalkers and Sentries and small unit combinations like this. A flock of 8 to 10 Mutas would be able to pick this apart, no problem. Right. So unless Nemesys does something big to get back in the game, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, and here it goes. He does have a War Prism moving out.
Smart play. It is going to get scouted here right away. Notice the double Immortals in there, so he's going for this big Immortal drop. But Dark Dolphins notices this right off the bat. Should be able to respond here fairly quickly.
He doesn't have anything in the way. These 2 Immortals are going to do a lot of damage. They might even be able to pick off the pool, and this is the problem with the build that Dark Dolphins did. He has no Lings out. All the Lings he has are at his natural, and there he goes down the
production
pool.
Either. There he goes. He's just now producing Mutas, so he's waiting for that. But the pool going down is a big snipe here, I think, for Nemesys at this point. The trouble that Nemesys has is he's still behind in this overall supply count and also in the harvester count. And I mean, these are things that he's going to have to remedy moving forward. Either that or find a way to do some damage to his opponent, slow him down a little bit, because really Dark Dolphins is controlling this game at this point. He's rebuilding his spawning pool here. I mean, he slowed him down a little bit, but not enough, I don't think. What's your take on that? Do you think that he's done the damage that he needs to at this point, or is there still more that needs to take place?
It was a good step to getting back into the game because he's no doubt very, very far and out. But with the Mutas in here, he has no answer to them. He doesn't have a lot of Stalkers. He actually has 6 now, which with this amount of Mutas would be able to deal with it well. But these Mutas have free reign now. They can just bounce between the natural and the main and just start wreaking all kinds of havoc like they are. Look at that. How many probes have gone down already? 10 probes have gone down. And there's only 8 Mutas out in the field already. So you can kind of see the position that Nemesys is in, is he did things to come back, but now all he really has to, the only decision he has left is to get up a big enough force and then just try and outright kill his opponent.
Right.
Which could be possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but the thing for Nemesys is he's got to learn to split his army. He keeps walking his entire army around up here to follow these Mutas around. That's just not going to happen. None of these units are nearly as fast as this Muta cloud. And so you've got to take a pick and say, oh, I'm going to commit a couple units up here and a couple units down here, so that when they do try and poke into that mineral line, that he's going to be able to deal with them. Pro tip of the day, right? Split your units for Muta harass. I like the photon cannons going down in his mineral line here. That 2 of them should be just enough to keep the Mutas out of the mineral line, and then we may even see him go for an attack here. But here comes your Mutas. He's once more taking down one of those photon cannons there fairly quick.
Yeah, this is it's game over for Nemesys. The only option he has left is to A-move into his opponent, because that's what happens when you, as a Protoss player, this is why Mute is becoming such a big problem. If you're not adequately prepared for them, or you haven't done enough damage to Zerg to delay them enough so you can prepare for them, you're just going to lose outright to economic harassment. And then all that you really have left is for you to try and kill your opponent with an A move. And it can work some of the times, but this is a Masters level game. It probably won't work. A player like DarkDolphins knows how Protoss operates. He's familiar with their kind of scheme of their next step. What is Protoss' next step? You're a Protoss player. What would you do to get back into this?
Well, I mean, this is not a bad play here for him to go ahead and snipe this Spire, which he did. He dropped 2 Immortals, but he lost both of his Immortals as well as his dropship to do so. And in the meantime, DarkDolphins is taking 2 bases, so not necessarily cost effective there. And that's going to be rebuilt there fairly quickly. But I think you're right. I think basically the only move he's got at this particular juncture is to just A move and give it the old college try at his opponent's front door. And without that option, I guess, then I just don't see that there's any other. Yes, at this point. I mean, he's going for some upgrades. Not a bad play. Twilight Council going down, getting Blink is going to help him hold on. But at what cost, I guess, is my question. And now that his opponent's taking the gold, taking his third and fourth base at the same time here, I just don't see that he's going to be able to slow DarkDolphins down here quite enough.
No, not at all. I mean, upgrades for the Zerg player are non-existent. So Protoss, if he were to get maybe a +2 or a 1/1 and do some kind of push before Zerg had anything, he might be able to steamroll him and just base trade. Right. But base trade against mutas never usually goes so well for the Protoss player, as we all know.
Yep, it's brutal. And all they have to do is start running links out of their base to help out, and then all of a sudden you find your main overrun. And, yeah, and especially when you've only got 2 mining base. I mean, it would be one thing if he had 5 mining bases at this point, then he could feel free to sack a couple bases. But at this point, he's so stuck on these 2 bases that he's either got to defend extremely well here, force his way into a third, probably the gold, and to see if he can make that happen. Otherwise, he's gonna find himself just bled out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how disoriented he is. He doesn't have enough guys in all his gas geysers. He has poor separation of his units. He doesn't have his stalker split up to deal with the mutas, and this is the problem. And Blink is just moments away from being finished, but not soon enough. And I'm sorry, but photon cannons are just not nearly as good as turrets because, well, you can't repair them. So I think Protoss' only move is just grab all his probes and go for it. That's all he really has left. He's going to have...
Even if he leaves his probes and just tosses up, like, I don't know, call it 4 or 5 cannons at each base, and then just make a good solid attack, he could potentially have enough here. I mean, he's only dealing with really Lings and Mutas at this point, and quite frankly, he's got the right unit composition to deal with that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, you know what I mean?
Yep, there is a lot of mutas on the map, though. There's, a lot of lings. There's almost 100 lings on the map. There's going to be well over 100 in just a minute. Only 11 mutas, though. So the real big concern is that Protoss has no force fields. Stalkers in this number, granted, they are upgraded, and if they have that +1 armor, they might be able to deal with the lings. And, ooh, there's a good blink. He's going to be able to pick off a lot of those mutas, at least weaken some of them and make them fall back. And I think if... DarkDolphins is approaching that max point. He's getting a good composition. 115 lings on the field.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
This is a death force, really, from DarkDolphins. I mean, he can afford to beat down a wall off. That's for sure at this point. And the mutas are still in pretty decent numbers. I mean, he lost quite a few to some of those Blink Stalker attacks there from Nemesys. And I mean, we've got to give Nemesys a lot of credit here. He's due quite a bit, I'd say, at this point. Dealing with those mutas, it just doesn't seem to be quite enough, where DarkDolphins is now completely maxed out. He's got a super scary force out here of just lings and infestors. He's got like 4 or 5 roaches. How many does he have on the field?
10 roaches, 6 infestors, 115 lings. He's got a pretty good composition against what Protoss has to offer. I have no idea who to be dedicated. It is Valentine's Day. He is the color red. It's very, very romantic. But I think this is Protoss' moment. He brought... have 1/1. If he can hit before Zerg's 1/1 finishes, he might be able to eke out a win. But actually, it looks like he's going to try and expand.
For the gold, which I think at this point it's too little, too late. But I mean, I guess everything is worth a try in a tournament scenario like this. So I mean, good luck to you, Nemesys. It does appear that DarkDolphins is going to be moving out with a very scary force. I love the amount of infestors he's got in this army. He's going to really immobilize these Blink Stalkers with that.
Yeah, I have to say, look at his control. His control is really good.
Yeah,
Oh, he has all his units separately hotkeyed. He's playing it very smart, but here comes a big engagement. This kid actually pretty good for Protoss. Getting into a choke like this will definitely be beneficial, but all the Zealots are caught behind, so all these +1 Lings are going to go to town on these Stalkers.
Yeah.
You really need the Zealots up there.
Backwards is what he needs to be doing, but there it goes. He does blink all of them back at once, which is, I mean, it's okay, but what you really want to do is try and blink back just the ones that are hurt, if at all possible, and you can do them in small groups even. But yeah, I mean it tends to be less effective to do one large blink like that. And I mean he's trying to keep this forward position. This is going to delay DarkDolphins moving forward, into his opponent's base. But I mean at this point, DarkDolphins is replenishing his army as fast as he loses it.
Yeah, there's so many roaches out on the way. There's 28 on the map somewhere. There's only a few here, and here come the rest. And even though these roaches only have the +1 carapace, they're just not so good against Stalkers, and they outnumber them. Even with, although the Stalkers do have +2 armor, so and it looks like Nemesys is blink microing his heart out, and he actually did pretty well there. I have to admit. Backing up into the ramp, trying to get himself into a decent choke. Smart decision there. But what does he have back home? His gold has finished up, but here comes a counterattack from DarkDolphins. He says, "Well, that's all you have left. I'm just going to go ahead and kill you." And looks like that's a good choice because. A lot of roaches coming in, Lings. The only thing I have to say is DarkDolphins doesn't have a lot of upgrades, and I think if Protoss were to get a really favorable engagement, it may come back to haunt him. Right. It just may. Yeah, and like this, look at the front. Look at all these, with the blink micro, all those roaches, so very, very weak, all in the red, going to be coming down.
Yeah, he's going to try and snipe this gold expansion, which I think is a smart play. It's probably unnecessary at this point for DarkDolphins. All he really needs to do is consolidate his forces here, and it's a GG. But I mean, he's got Lings into the main, and Nemesys is basically on the run at this point. So I mean, I think he could have had this. Yeah, exactly. I mean, his days are completely numbered at this point. It's when does DarkDolphins want to pull the trigger? And he's got Broodlords. It looks like he really wanted to get his Broodlord tech out. So he's got 3 morphing in right now in the center of the map there, and I guess that's what he was waiting for before he wants to pull the trigger. And it is going to be the Broodling trigger that he's going to pull.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have to kind of reconcile with DarkDolphins here. I know the feeling, when you're playing a Protoss player, you never know if I have something wonky coming at you, whether it be Dark Templars or a Mothership like Proxy, Fleet Beacon or something like that. You never can be sure, so you always want to get those Brutal Lords out. That way you can just kind of guarantee a victory against Protoss. Don't want to take too many risks, because they are definitely their units are cost effective, so they're definitely the race with fewer units could come out on top. I would say if Nemesys had Templar tech here with Archons mixed in, he'd actually stand a chance, but it's far too late. He's just getting his gold back up now. He's mined out in his main. He's not even getting proper gas from his main. Only has 2 and 1 geyser. Only two probes and that geyser there, and way low on his third. So and it's going.
Broodlord's in great position right now for this engagement, forcing Nemesys back here. He's going to try and find a favorable position here, and it's going to be tough, man. He's only got the 1 immortal in this army, which is helpful against these roaches, but man, I'll tell you.
Oh, decent blink. He's actually going to get. Yeah, he's actually going to get a couple of those Broodlords. I have to say that was those upgrades. It just goes to show you they scale really, really well with Stalkers and Protoss units in general.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and he took out all the broods there. There are a couple of infestors still out on the field. Oh, there's one more brood. Just the lagger. He almost made it to the battle.
Yeah, and my question is where's all DarkDolphins' army? He does have 83 drones, so he's a little heavy on the drone count right now. But I'm trying to figure out. That was kind of like a half-hearted attack. He just didn't have all his units there. And he's actually going to be able to save his gold, which is pretty significant.
Yeah, and he's going to take out quite a few Overlords as well. They were spreading a lot of creep there. It does make things gross and nasty for mining. It doesn't slow it down, but it does really dishearten those poor probes.
Now that's a good mechanic we could add to the game. If you goop up, it slows down workers. That would be a great mechanic for creep.
That'd be awesome.
For Zerg players, yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't think Protoss and Nemesys getting a good engagement, taking out all the mutas. That does free up some supply. But here comes another.
DarkDolphins knows he's got to keep this gold from mining, and so we should see him focusing down this nexus. But focusing down the workers first is also not a bad idea. So.
Yeah, but can't mine if you don't have any workers. Then all these sentries are called out of position. I really don't see how Nemesys could come back from this. He does have 2-2, and his opponent's still only on 1-0 roaches, which is not very. They're not very good. They scale well with upgrades too, but Stalkers do bonus damage to armored units. There's no observer with here, so the burrow is actually going to come in pretty handy. But this is amazing. I cannot believe Nemesys is holding on for this long. I don't know if DarkDolphins just toying with him at this point, or I kind of just feel like he's kicking him around like a.
Yeah, I mean, I think DarkDolphins is definitely playing it safer than he needs to, but you, like you say, in a tournament setting, you don't want to ever make a mistake, and so he's definitely not making mistakes here. He's just picking his opponent apart very methodically. And there's your GG. There's the well played. I think nicely done from Nemesys. You got to give him credit. I mean, holding off DarkDolphins for that long is a good deal. And,
yeah, that was not an easy fight for him. I mean, the 9 pool, it kind of just set the tone. So many people say the one little thing early in the game can just define the rest of the game, and it really, really, in that situation, it really does.
Yep, well said. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be going into another game here momentarily. So don't alt tab, always alt Starcraft. Catch you guys then.